Oh yeah, is it Tuesday already? What could be the beginning of the biggest week for Star Wars news, with D23 on Saturday, a Mandalorian and Grogu trailer possibly coming this week, and who knows what else is coming on D23. But we got to talk about Kenobi Season 2 yet again, because Ewan McGregor is talking all about it. And if that's not enough, we got some connections between all these different upcoming Star Wars projects that Lucasfilm might have just accidentally revealed themselves. We got a lot to get into and not a lot of time, so without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon? We finally have some update on the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, and it's not just that we might be getting a trailer later on this week, but we have some news. Finally, somebody else joins the cast and crew of this, and we get a little bit of a deeper look into what the Mandalorian and Grogu movie might look like. And of course, as I've been saying for weeks now, it's going to make well over $1 billion, but we'll get to that in a little bit. We got to talk about Ewan McGregor because he's going to all these fan expos and Comic Cons and all this stuff and really hyping up the possibility for a Kenobi Season 2. So we'll talk about that yet again today. And Pedro Pascal and Ewan McGregor have both finally watched Andor. And we'll give a little bit more on that. And the Emmys are right around the corner, where hopefully Andor will win a million different Emmys. But we got a lot to get into and not a lot of time. But before we do any of it, before we talk about a single lick of Star Wars news, let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Let's start off the stream the way it's supposed to be. Matt, what is up? Fearless, how we doing? Jason in the house. Starship 66, what is up? WV Grad, how we doing? Holly, what is up? John Groom in the house. Brandon Baker, what is up? Darth Plagueis lives in the house. Matthew, what is up? Mando United, how we doing? ZZZO, what is up? The Max Rebo Experience, how we doing? Rachel, what is up? Qui-Gon Wild, great name. How we doing? Aaron, what is up? Dustin Kennedy in the house. All right, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little...
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so I think we should start with the Mandalorian and Grogu stuff, because this might be the biggest week when it comes to Mando news. Not only do we get actual physical news today, or maybe yesterday, but today, we got to talk about the rest of the week. D23 coming up on Saturday, the possibility of getting a public trailer, because there is that leaked trailer that's out there roaming around the internet. A public trailer could be happening this week, and we'll talk about that. But we must start with the news that happened today, yesterday. Okay, let's talk about this. So it has been confirmed that the Mandalorian and Grogu movie has David Klein as their cinematographer. Let's take a look at this. Take a look at this. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie. David Klein added as the film's cinematographer. Now, before you go, Mike, who the hell is David? We'll get to it. We'll get to it. This is good news. This is good news, Mark. Sorry. My brain is fried. If you got that reference, you got it. Okay. But we are in the dog days of August, and Star Wars news is pretty scarce. That is until this weekend. So we're holding on to every little detail as it comes out. Reddit detectives have spotted that David Klein, a recurring cinematographer on various Mandoverse shows, has a new upcoming title on his IMDb page. Next May, The Mandalorian and Grogu movie. David Klein served as the director of photography on 8 episodes of The Mandalorian, I'm guessing just The Mandalorian, across Season 2 and Season 3, 5 episodes of The Book of Boba Fett, and 4 episodes of Skeleton Crew. So this guy has the experience when it comes to Star Wars, working on, like I just said, 8 episodes of Mando, 5 episodes of Boba Fett, 4 episodes of Skeleton Crew. That's a lot of Star Wars. A lot of Star Wars. And 3 projects that are pretty well known for their quality of cinematography. Disney Plus, although Star Wars hasn't been in the movie theaters in the last 5.5 years, almost 6 years now, it still has the highest of high qualities on Disney Plus, at least in a visual sense, because some may disagree on the other side. This will be the first time he serves as DP on a Star Wars feature film. Again, there hasn't been one in almost 6 years, even if he had experience on the big screen before. So just with Star Wars, that's what they're saying. Principal photography for The Mandalorian and Grogu wrapped late last year, with Pedro Pascal returning to voice the lead role and maybe even be there physically. He'll be joined in the cast by Sigourney Weaver, who plays a high-ranking officer in the New Republic, judging from pictures shown at Star Wars Celebration Japan. Plot details are largely being kept under wraps because Lucasfilm can keep a secret pretty damn well. But it seems like the story will revolve around some mission that Sigourney Weaver's character gives our titular characters, which involves a trip to the Outer Rim and an encounter with some of the remnant Imperial forces. Hopefully, Grand Admiral Thrawn, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. At Star Wars Celebration, director Jon Favreau introduced a 2-minute teaser trailer. Now, this teaser trailer has been going around online, having been deleted over and over and over again, but something has changed. Check this out. Well, first of all, it describes this, which shows Din Djarin's assault on an AT-AT walker, as well as a bunch of disconnected moments from the film that culminate in a shot from behind a hut inside a gladiator-like arena. Rumored that it's going to be Rada the Hutt making a splashing return, voiced by Jeremy Allen White. Rada the Hutt being Jabba's child. Mandalorian and Grogu movie opens in theaters May 22nd, 2026. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So here's where things get pretty interesting. Oh, actually, by the way, wrong button. They say here, although we anticipate a teaser trailer will drop online before Avatar 3 hits theaters in December, which I would assume so too. I actually assume it'll come up this weekend, but we'll talk about that. Now, the reason I think that this trailer will actually be released publicly on Saturday, because even if it's not released publicly, I think we're going to get a trailer regardless. It will just have to be leaked out, and we'll have to watch the grainy footage of a 1980s camera for some reason. Whenever people record stuff on their iPhone, it looks horrible. But I think we'll definitely be getting that. The reason I think it's going to be public is something that happened over the last couple of weeks here. The Mandalorian and Grogu trailer has been online. And if you've seen it, tell me in the chat. Give me a 1 into the chat if you've seen the trailer for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. It's been online. It's been circulating across the interwebs. But it's always been taken down. Whether it's 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, it's always been taken down after a short period of time. However, that has changed, as this trailer right here for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie has been on YouTube for now over 2 weeks. And much like people are saying in the chat, in the comments here, given that this has been up for 2 weeks now, Disney hasn't tried to take it down. It might be that we'd be getting an official teaser trailer at D23 next week. And I'm thinking the same thing here. These trailers have been taken down over and over and over again. The only reason that they wouldn't be taking it down at this point is because it's going to be released publicly in a couple days, and they just don't care anymore because this footage will be released publicly to everybody else in a couple days. Now, even if it's not, like I said before, the footage will be leaked. That's just bound to happen. We're either getting a trailer Saturday or we're getting a trailer Saturday. I'm about 99.9% sure. It's just whether or not it's going to be nice, clear, and in HD, or if it's going to be a grainy, looked like it was recorded on the first ever camera invented video for us. Now, should we watch this trailer? Like, should we risk it? Should we, like, watch this one to get hyped up? Or, like, should we risk it? Should we, like, watch the trailer? The rumor is it's going to be the exact same trailer again. I'm okay with that. I'm okay if it's the exact same trailer, just released publicly. Like, just press the publish button and make it public. You know? Don't get busted, Mike. I won't risk it for the biscuit. All right, don't do it. Oh, we got a mixed bag here. Do we risk it, Chet? Do we risk it? What if I sing over it? What if I'm like, la, 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 la? You know? With that. I'm seeing more risks it than don't risk it. I say we risk it. Worst comes to worst, we'll just cut it after the stream ends. But take a look at this.
Walker 3 is gone.
Send everybody.
Understood. Prepare.
Like I said, grainy looks like it was recorded on the first ever invented camera. How is this possible? Like, iPhones have good cameras. Who is doing this? Who is actually doing this? It's rare that you see the same trailer over again. It's more likely going to be a similar one. Yeah, I mean, it won't be a shot-for-shot exact same trailer, but it will have very similar shots. I think this, what we're about to see here, which is like Din Djarin's hallway scene through an AT-AT walker, I think that will be in the trailer that we get on Saturday. Actually, like, paid very close attention to that fight scene. The choreography there is insane. He, first of all, lights one of the stormtroopers on fire. The one that's on fire gets back up to keep fighting, and then he kills him again. Sigourney Weaver. So the confirmed reports were that they made an entire AT-AT for the set of this movie, which makes sense. They did a whole hallway sequence in the inside of it. Why not just make the whole thing? It's pretty cool. People like the practical effects stuff. It just makes it look more real, and that's awesome. There's going to be a huge sequence with that AT-AT. It probably is going to be the beginning of the movie. It would be wild if the opening scene of the movie was that. Like, it was just them on some mission for the New Republic, and then things get more interesting because, you know, then the big villain appears or the struggle actually happens. I'll get to that super chat in 1 sec. But Sigourney Weaver. I do wonder how much Grogu's going to use the Force in this. Because we've seen over the course of the 3 seasons of Mando and the Book of Boba Fett how much more powerful Grogu has become with the Force. In Mando Season 1, he uses the Force and he's asleep for like 3 weeks, whatever it is. He's asleep for multiple days because he's so weak. But he trains with Luke, trains a little bit with Ahsoka, but he trains with Luke. He becomes older and more powerful with the Force. And for a long period of time, he was detached from the Force, so it takes a second to come back to him. But now he's the strongest Grogu we've ever seen. I wonder how much he's actually going to utilize the Force. The Razor Crest is back. Now, Zeb Aurelius seemingly is going to be driving the Razor Crest, but tell me in the chat, do you want Din Djarin to keep the N1 Starfighter or go back to the Razor Crest? I go back and forth on this all the time. If he's going to be a bounty hunter, he can't have anybody else in the M1 Starfighter. There's no way to... It's not... The Razor Crest is like a minivan, a soccer mom's minivan, where all the kids can get in the minivan and go to soccer practice. And the M1 Starfighter is like the cool Lamborghini Corvette, awesome 1-person, 2-people ride. So is he going to be the cool dad with the Lamborghini? Is he going to be the mom van with the mom van? Tell me in the chat. The scene with the snow and all that, that's going to be hopefully all the opening sequence. Now, before we get to the final scene, which is Stinky the Hut, and we'll talk about it, again, Grogu using the Force, but think about how important the opening of this movie is going to be. Well, first of all, do you think there will be a opening crawl to this scene? Like every other, every Star Wars episodic movie, because Solo and Rogue One both don't have an opening crawl. Do you think The Mandalorian and Grogu will have one? It's going to be pretty hard to pinpoint where this takes place in the timeline for normie fans. After Episode 6, before Episode 7, but that's still like a 30-year gap. Where in that 30 years does this take place? There's going to have to be some sort of explanation for where we're at. No crawl? They do a dump like Ahsoka? Well, that sounded horrible, but maybe. No crawl. Interesting. There'll be some sort of little crawl. Well, what they were saying with Ahsoka is Ahsoka just has like red lettering go on the screen to explain what's going on. It's not like a crawl like the usual Star Wars. A green crawl, that'd be kind of cool. I feel like they will do something different to establish that this is not a new episode in the Star Wars saga. But I don't know. You're going to have to do some sort of explanation. Some sort of explanation. It's just how they're going to do it. Kathleen Kennedy confirmed crawls for movies moving forward. All of them? I didn't see that. Yeah. There will be some sort of crawl. I just don't know how it will work. Whether it's going to be a usual crawl where it's actually space and it goes do 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 do, or I don't know. We'll see. But there will have to be some sort of explanation for where we're at in the timeline and who these characters are for people who've never seen The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. And for like, of course, us being hardcore fans, we know exactly where this takes place in the Star Wars storyline. Even one level down from us, people who follow Star Wars have watched The Mandalorian, still probably struggle to figure out where that takes place in the Star Wars timeline. And then Stinky the Hut. It's so crazy because this movie comes out in less than a year. And we know so little about the plot of this film. It's really wild. Now, granted, we haven't gotten a public trailer yet. This is still a leaked trailer on a horrible camera. But hopefully that's coming this weekend and we'll get a little bit more in terms of an actual trailer and plot for that matter. Qui-Gon Wild says, is there a paid membership for this channel? How do I join? Yes. So there should be a button that says join right next to like subscribe or something. And then you can join that way. Or there's a link in the description of this video. So if you hit the description of the video, there's two links. One to a completely free Discord where there's incredible people who talk Star Wars all day long in the Discord. And there's a second link that's to join to become a member. Membership, super chats, keep the lights on over here. Oh, by the way, we did get a super chat. Hang on, chat. Let me get to the super chat. Oh, Darth Plagueis lives with an insanely generous $10 holla. Holy crap. I appreciate that. Says, hello there.
Hello there.
What are the chances we actually get a Mando trailer this weekend? And what are the chances we actually get a Kenobi Season 2? Well, let me start with the Mando trailer first. The chances of us getting a Mando trailer this weekend, I think, are 99.99999999999. Because even if it's not released publicly, the people in attendance at D23 will get a trailer. The people in attendance at D23 last year got a trailer for Mando. So that was before they just started filming. They had literally just started filming the movie and they got to see a trailer. So now, a year later, they will definitely get to see a trailer there. It's whether or not it will be released publicly. And the chances of that, I think, are a little bit lower. I'd say maybe like 60-40. Let's actually pull this up. Let's pull it up, chat. Smash a freaking like, of course, if you have not already. That's the first poll. But let's pull this up. Do you think the Mandalorian, or let's just do Mando trailer will release publicly this weekend? Yes or no? Yes or no? Because I have zero doubt in my mind that that's a like triple negative there. I have zero doubt in my mind that there will be a Mando trailer. Okay, that was right. This weekend. It's just whether or not it will be released publicly. Yeah. Now going to the second half of that super chat, which was what is the chance we actually get a Kenobi Season 2? Well, we'll talk about it. Ewan McGregor, all that stuff later. It's way less likely than a trailer this weekend from The Mandalorian. But it's definitely not zero. or anywhere close to 0. But we'll talk about Kenobi season 2 later on. Yeah. Mike, I solved the problem 2 or 3 years ago. Wait, I solved this problem 2 or 3 years ago. I want Din Djarin to acquire a starship big enough for him to hold his N1 starfighter. Interesting. He's going to have to loot. He's a New Republic agent. True. And still sort of a bounty hunter to an extent. I only see one link and no join button. What? Here, I'll send the link in the chat right now in a sec. But I don't think a Razor Crest is big enough though to house an N1 starfighter. That's the issue. Clearly, there's a Razor Crest coming back. I mean, that's been made. N1. Sorry, that's me. I'm just clicking on the video so I can. So here's how you do it, chat. First of all, you smash a freaking like here. Do I like my own video? Why not? Sure. Smash a like there. And then here, there's 2 links. The Discord link and the membership link. There's a button here that says join. You can do that. But if you don't see it, here, we'll copy this. Copy. And we'll put it in the chat. Boom. Okay. But there's clearly a Razor Crest that will be in the movie. It's whether or not he'll still be riding in the M1 starfighter, because that hasn't been seen yet in the trailers. So I don't know. I liked the M1 starfighter. It feels like a sports car or a race car. When you're getting the scenes in Book of Boba Fett and Mando Season 3, it feels like he's just zooming past you and is way faster than any other ship. That may not be the case, but still. Yeah. Jessica, what's up? I'm doing good. How are you? I'm doing good. How are you? Zeb, another useless cameo. Well, Zeb works for the New Republic, so I'm assuming that Din and Grogu are going to either go on some mission with him or Zeb is going to be the one who gives them the mission. Yeah. Zeb's role is going to be weird because he will be in Ahsoka Season 2, and that makes sense because Hera works with the New Republic. Ezra's back. There's going to be some sort of reunion there. But his role in The Mandalorian, again, is still up in the air. We don't really know. Yeah. What? Is the movie going to be good? That's the question. Well, only time will tell on that one. I can't really tell. I can't tell you if it's going to be good or not if I haven't seen it myself. I want to see a Yoda Force Ghost. Not in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. I mean, that would be a big ask, and I don't think that's what's going to happen. Okay, but let's rewind a second. Let's get back to the news at hand. We'll talk about the trailer in a second. But David Klein, or yeah, I guess Klein, whatever you want to call it. David Klein is on board to be is the cinematographer for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Now, my biggest thing, as you guys all know, is having experience with Star Wars before, whether it's on a Disney Plus show or another Star Wars movie or whatever it may be. It's having Star Wars experience. I really don't even care if you are freaking Christopher Nolan. I guess that's maybe not Christopher Nolan, but it depends on how, of course, your track record as a director outside of Star Wars. But when you look at a director who's coming over to Star Wars or anybody who's working on Star Wars, the biggest thing is, do they have Star Wars experience? And of course, are they Christopher Nolan? But when you look at David Klein being the cinematographer for this Mandalorian and Grogu movie, it's fan-freaking-tastic because he worked on 8 episodes of Mando, 5 episodes of Book of Boba Fett, and 4 episodes of Skeleton Crew. Not only is that Star Wars projects, but that's Star Wars projects with Din and Grogu. That's Star Wars projects in the Mandoverse. And the 4 episodes of Skeleton Crew do kind of pique my interest a little bit, just a little bit. As we've been talking about in recent past, where we're going to see the Skeleton Crew next, possibly a Skeleton Crew Season 2, or we could see Jod in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, or Ahsoka Season 2. Yeah. Indeed. So with that being said, this is great news. You'll love to see this. a guy who's worked on so much Star Wars projects, so much Mandoverse projects, getting the green light to go work on a movie, fan-freaking-tastic. Incredible. And then this trailer not being taken down over the last 2 weeks is leading to some speculation online that we might be getting a trailer this weekend, which I certainly hope we do. I certainly hope so. And honestly, other than the cool hallway scene with this AT-AT Walker, not much plot or anything being explored in this trailer. Not at all. I will go to the one scene, though, that has piqued my interest. It's around here somewhere. Din Djarin going all badass. These are two different scenes. They cut them together weird. But this. Grogu's swimming. What do you guys think is the likelihood that we see the Mythazar in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? Chat? Do you think we'll see the Mythazar that was set up in Mando Season 3 to clearly play a role in whatever comes next? Do you think we'll see that in this movie? It might be the case that they're saving it for something later down the line, like the big crossover event movie, maybe Dave Filoni's movie, or maybe even the third of the trilogy. But they got to bring it in at some point. I think it's probably less likely for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie and more likely for Dave Filoni's movie. But the setup is clearly there. Yeah. Hang on, we got a new member. Hang on, chat. Qui-Gon Wild, great name. Welcome to the people who love Welcome to the people who love Star Wars, Qui-Gon Wild. I appreciate it. I really, really do. Super chats, memberships keep the lights on over here. So I appreciate that. WV Grab with the 8-month membership badge says another month down. Big week with D23 this weekend and college football starting this weekend. Nice. Yeah, I just did my fantasy football draft last night, 2 nights ago. I don't even know what day it is anymore. 2 nights ago, I did my fantasy football draft, so pretty excited. Yeah. But yes, D23 this weekend's going to be insane. It's great that we have a live stream already scheduled for Saturday because we would have done an emergency live stream too. So, yeah. God, I hope so. Game of Thrones Mando style. The Mythazar is going to be an interesting thing, going back to it, because whenever it comes out, in the Book of Boba Fett, you had Boba Fett riding a Rancor, which was just cool. Like, let's be honest, it was just awesome. Having either Din Djarin or Bo-Katan or maybe even Grogu riding a Mythazar would be insane. It would be so damn cool. And when we're talking about the Mandalorians and how they're going to play into all this, there's not many of them, as we've seen. They're just now rebuilding their home world. They just reclaimed their home world not that long ago. But they're going to be heavily involved in this fight. Mandalore, Dathomir, just in proximity, are very close to each other. When you look at the map, pull it up. Star Wars Galaxy map. When you look at the map, proximity-wise, this is Dathomir right here on my cursor, and this is Mandalore. They're really not that far apart. We know that Wayland is where Mount Tantus is, and of course, Aten is where all of Skeleton Crew took place. So all these planets being sort of in the same little area here, this is where all this stuff's going to go down. The Mandoverse stuff, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie stuff, Ahsoka Season 2 stuff, and Dave Filoni's movie. Mandalorians are going to be heavily involved in this fight against Grand Admiral Thrawn. So somebody's going to be riding the Mythazar. They didn't just set that up for nothing. The question then becomes, who? So who do we think, Chad? Who's going to ride the Mythosaur? I feel like Din Djarin would be the best bet, but is it though? Is it though? Is the Mythosaur force sensitive? I don't think so. I mean, I don't know why it would have to be. Honey Badger, what's up? How we doing? I think Bo-Katan will ride the Mythosaur if anybody does. She was the one who saw it in the water. Foreshadowing is my opinion. True. I forgot about that. She's the one who saw it. That is such a cool scene. Because Din Djarin is passed out. But then again, it comes to both of them. So it's like, interesting. Interesting. Again, another reason The Mandalorian Season 3 gets just way too much hate. That scene is awesome. Yeah. Could Bo and Din ride it together? I don't see why not. I'm assuming that the Mythosaur is going to be enormous. Like, I don't see it being this, like, the Rancor was cool. I think it's going to be like 10 times the size. It's a dragon. Pretty much. I mean, it doesn't fly, but it's this massive being. So I'm hoping it'll be enormous, and maybe the both of them could ride it. That'd be cool. I don't know. If I was a gambling man, I'd probably say Din Djarin, just because he's the main guy. I mean, the Mandalorian is referring to him. Yeah. But Grogu talked to it. Grogu did sense it in the water. That's true. They fly now? It doesn't fly? I don't think so. The Mythosaur doesn't fly. More like a dinosaur-looking thing, right? Hang on. The Mythosaur. Yeah, it doesn't have wings. The Mythosaur looks like this. Well, this is what it looks like in canon, I think. See, this picture doesn't do it justice, though. This looks like a small creature. Like, this does not look like a big creature in Star Wars. But this thing is going to be massive. Okay, but this is what it looks like in Legends. Again, that doesn't have wings, but it's enormous. And then this is what we get in Mando. Yeah, we only get its eyeball. Now, where's the scene where Din and Bo-Katan go face to face with it? I don't know. But this picture doesn't do it justice. This thing's going to be enormous. Way bigger than this picture makes it look. Now, how to train a Mythosaur. Now, there is another. As the great Yoda once said, there is another creature or being that could go head to head versus the Mythosaur. Like Din Djarin on the back of the Mythosaur versus maybe Grand Admiral Thrawn, which would be crazy, but somebody on the back of this other beast. Now, can anybody guess who I'm talking about? Does anybody know what I'm talking about here, Chad? The movie was filmed for IMAX. Oh, yeah, it is. The movie is filmed for IMAX. The Zilla Beast. Yes. Exactly. Jimmy or Jack. The Zilla Beast. No, not the Rancor. The Rancor is going to be cool, obviously. Abeloth. What are we talking about here? The Zilla Beast. So just like I mentioned before, these planets being so close to each other, having Mandalore here, Dathomir there, Wayland is the home of Mount Tantus. In the Bad Batch, we got to see the Zilla Beast on Mount Tantus escape and go into the forest. So it's highly likely that the Bad Batch set up Mount Tantus to be the cloning facility that it is for the future with Grand Admiral Thrawn. Just like it ends up being in Legends, Grand Admiral Thrawn will somehow use the cloning facility to do something, whether it's to clone Night Sisters or to clone Stormtroopers or whatever it may be. He's going to use that. That was set up for a reason. But I also think the Zilla Beast was set up for a reason on Mount Tantus. Or on Wayland, I should say. But maybe that's just me. giant battle, Mythosar versus Zillo Beast. Sign me up. The only problem with that is, how would you get one to the other planet? These planets are close, but I don't think the Zillo Beast can fly through space. Actually, the Zillo Beast can shrink down very small. That would be crazy. Imagine Thrawn is such a strategical genius that he would find a way to take the Zillo Beast, shrink it down again, and then just unleash it into the battlefield for just Mandalorians to have to deal with. And then you could get Zillo Beast versus Mythosar because Grand Admiral Thrawn's a freaking genius. It'd be pretty cool. Like the Empire is failing. They're about to lose this battle on Mandalore or versus Mandalorians, whatever. And then he just drops a Zillo Beast on their head. It's like, hi, you thought I was stupid? I'm Grand freaking Admiral Thrawn. Will the Mythosar eat Grand Admiral Thrawn? Well, I mean, that could be awesome. I don't know. I hope not, actually. Yeah. Man, they set up the Zillo Beast, clone Zillo Beast in the Bad Batch, and they set up the Mythosar in the Mandalorian. He's been cooking. Yeah, I mean, there's been a setup, okay? Not just the Mandalorian season 1, 2, 3, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, but even stuff that happened so much further before this stuff, the Mandoverse, as I should say. The Bad Batch. It sets up Wayland, it sets up Mount Tantus, it sets up the Zillo Beast, it sets up all this great stuff to pay off in the Mandoverse. Maybe even Maul Shadow Lord could be setting up some stuff that'll pay off in the Mandoverse. Darth Talon could play a role in this. We don't know. Maybe not in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, but again, I still think that this movie's the beginning of a trilogy. The latest report said if the Mandalorian and Grogu is a success, which I think it will be, then it will be the beginning of a trilogy. But that's only if it's going to be a success. I mean, look at the thumbnail of today's video. We've talked about this before. I think the Mandalorian and Grogu will make $1 billion easy. Like, not even difficulty level, easy. It's whether or not it will actually make a lot more than that. Because 4 of the 5 Star Wars movies under the Disney apron have made $1 billion. 2 of 3 of them made well over $1 billion. Force Awakens making over $2 billion. So I think the Mandalorian and Grogu movie has the opportunity to make $2 billion. But that's if it's really, really good. Word of mouth gets around. Like, we need the same hype level as the Force Awakens time. And that's going to be really hard to do. But even still, with what we're talking about here, this plan of a possible trilogy where the payoff is Grand Admiral Thrawn fighting against all these people and having the Zillo Beast be involved and Wayland in the cloning operations on Mount Tantus being involved, that stuff pulled straight out of Legends, pulled straight out of the Heir to the Empire trilogy, but it's also being utilized in canon with new characters and a new story. Because Ahsoka wasn't there. Well, she might not be there for this either. Din Djarin, Grogu, Bo-Katan, Hera Syndulla, Ezra Bridger, Zeb Orrellis, none of those characters were there in Legends. And now they are in canon. It's going to be a completely different, but similar story to Legends, with hopefully giving Grand Admiral Thrawn that more of a not just evil for evil's sake type story arc. You know what I'm saying? All these space monsters sound lame. Where's the character development? Well, I'm not just going to sit here and tell you that the 2.5-hour movie is just Zillo Beast versus Mythosar. There will be character development. I'm just saying those two beasts have been set up to be in the battle, in the conflict, whatever it may be. It's not just going to be a 2.5-hour movie called Mythosar versus Zillo Beast. Kong versus Godzilla. Yeah. Mechagodzilla versus Godzilla 5. Return of Mechagodzilla. Yeah. It will make money. Too many people love Grogu. Well, Grogu's definitely going to be the selling point. He has been for the Mandoverse this entire time. He's not the only reason The Mandalorian's a success, but he's a big reason as to why it's the biggest success on Disney Plus. The show itself is really good. Din Djarin's a great character. All the new characters established in that Mandoverse time period are fantastic, but it's Grogu that puts it over the edge. He's the cute, lovable character that kids fall in love with. He's everywhere in the merchandising. Look down, he's on your shirt right now. He's not on my shirt today. But he's everywhere. And that will sell some tickets. Yeah. No movie has made $1 billion this year, but one. What movie made $1 billion this year? I don't even know. Yeah, this year's been pretty crazy, especially for Marvel movies, because the 3 Marvel movies that were released, of the 3, at least 2 of them, I think, could have at least gotten close. They were good enough to get close, but they didn't. We're not talking Marvel. We're not talking DC. We're not talking these other random projects that came out. We're talking about Star Wars. Star Wars. Yeah. Lilo and Stitch made $1 billion. Wow, really? I didn't even see that. But that's crazy. Lilo and Stitch has Mando and Grogu vibes. I mean, yeah, Stitch is very Grogu-esque, but yeah. Yeah. You're wearing a Neil shirt? I didn't even know there was Neil shirts. That's legendary. Why would a Mando and Grogu trailer drop this week? Sorry, I'm not caught up on Star Wars news. No worries. D23 is this weekend. And usually, at least if history repeats itself, D23 has been the time where Star Wars drops a lot of trailers. Well, just in general, Disney drops a lot of trailers. But the Mandalorian and Grogu movie's also in 8 months now? 8 months? No, 9 months. 9 months? 8 months? 9 months. Less than 9 months, I think. 9 months. So now is the time. Less than 9 months. Math is not mathing. Less than 9 months. So now is the time to release a teaser trailer. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's going to be a 3-minute trailer of just the plot of the whole movie. It'll be a teaser. And I'm perfectly okay with that. Much like we got the teaser for Rise of Skywalker about 8 or 9 months before the Rise of Skywalker, where Palpatine laughs at the end and everybody loses their mind. Like that sort of tease for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. But D23 is this weekend, and that's why we sort of think that's going to happen. And the news has been ramping up for the Mandalorian and Grogu, like we just talked about. The cinematographer has been announced. We talked about casting being announced a couple weeks ago. We've known for a while Sigourney Weaver and stuff, but even completely blanking on the guy's name from the Shadow Council. And we've always talked about Bo-Katan, but that's another conversation. Yeah. Lilo and Stitch had a huge Latin America and Europe place. Okay. I mean, I don't even know. I didn't watch Lilo and Stitch. I actually heard bad things, but that's just because it didn't really stay true to the original. That's all I heard. I don't know. I don't know. Both movies have young, unpredictable aliens with big ears, and both are Disney properties. True. Hux and Pelion. I'm guessing Pelion will be in it. Well, I mean, if Thrawn's in it, then Pelion will be in it. And the Shadow Council guy is in it. Oh, no. I'm talking about the other guy. The can't think of his name. It's not Hux or Pelion. It's... Hang on, Jed. Gotta look it up. Shadow Council member in Mando and Grogu movie. Let's see. The Imperial Warlord, played by actor Johnny Coyne. Sure. From season 1. This guy right here. This handsome fella. This guy. Yeah, he's confirmed for the Mandalorian and Grogu. Dr. Evil? No. Not quite. But the Shadow Council members being involved there, he's, of course, an Imperial warlord. The drawback to, of course, Grand Admiral Thrawn will be clear and evident. Yeah. Indeed. Indeed. Okay, while we're on the topic of this, we'll wait a second for that. So, Mandalorian and Grogu movie got its cinematographer. We watched the trailer. Great, fantastic. Let's talk about this. So, this article piqued my interest. First of all, the title. Lucasfilm officially reverses course on its future Star Wars and TV show output. And this article came out yesterday, but it actually does talk about something really interesting when it comes to a shift over at Lucasfilm. Because when we talk about what happens next year, of course, we have Ahsoka Season 2, Maul series, Mandalorian and Grogu. It's going to be a great year. And then we follow that up with the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, 2027, Celebration, Starfighter, greatness. But they bring up some pretty good points. Let's just read this real quick, and then we'll go from there. Whoops. Hang on. Lucasfilm officially changed direction regarding its future of its Star Wars films and television content. After years of rapid expansion on Disney Plus, the studio is reining it in, to focus on cinemas and going for more of quality, it hopes, over quantity approach. This marks a significant shift in Disney's strategy as Lucasfilm reevaluates the way forward in an age of streaming. So, first and foremost, Marvel has seen this similar thing happen. And Star Wars has the opportunity to learn from that. Because Disney has only existed on Disney Plus for the last 6 years, they can learn from Marvel's mistakes, because Marvel has been in the movies and on Disney Plus for the last 6 years, and there has been this oversaturation of the market. There has been this quantity over quality control, where you have these Disney Plus shows that just aren't it, or even movies that just aren't it because you're trying to push out so much content. Star Wars now has the opportunity to learn from that and not make the same mistake. Not push out 1,000 projects a year just to keep fans happy when the projects aren't that good. So hopefully they do learn that lesson. After spending the better part of a decade prioritizing television, Lucasfilm is making a sharp and deliberate pivot back to the theatrical films. Since Rise of Skywalker hit theaters in 2019, the Star Wars franchise has largely lived on Disney Plus, with a steady stream of live-action and animated series like The Mandalorian, Andor, The Bad Batch, and Ahsoka, to name a few. It was a strategy born out of both necessity and opportunity, a way to keep the brand alive and bolster Disney's fresh streaming service, which needed original valuable content. The Mandalorian, who knows where Disney Plus wouldn't have been if it wasn't for The Mandalorian, because that kickstarted Disney Plus. Mandalorian Season 1 released with Disney Plus. They needed that to be a success, and it was. But halfway through the 2020s, holy crap, it's 2025. It's almost the end of 2025. That's crazy. Halfway through the 2020s, Lucasfilm is officially changing course. The future of Star Wars is being reshaped to once again revolve around movie-going. Star Wars should always be on the big screen. Even a lot of the Disney Plus shows, like Ahsoka Episode 5, the premieres of these shows, and even some finales were shown on select movie theater screens because Star Wars is supposed to be seen on the biggest screen possible. The studio's next theatrical release, The Mandalorian and Grogu, is set to arrive May 22nd, 2026, making the franchise's long-awaited return to the big screen. Following closely behind by Starfighter, which is a new story from director Sean Levy starring Ryan Gosling and newly casted villain Matt Smith and Mia Goth, currently scheduled for May 28th, 2027, a year later. Together, these two films represent more than just isolated projects. They are the first entries into what's to become a growing film slate and possibly the beginning of some trilogies. That shift is further reinforced by what happened, or rather, not happened, on the Disney Plus side of things. The once crowded lineup of upcoming streaming shows has become noticeably thinner. We talk about this all the time. The only live action Star Wars show is Ahsoka Season 2. And that's it. We've never, in the last 5 or 6 years, have been in this spot where there has only one live action project on the horizon. Beyond a third season of Star Wars Visions and a full spin-off centered around the Ninth Jedi, Lucasfilm's streaming presence looks to be scaling back. Maul Shadowlord, an animated series focused on Darth Maul's fate after Order 66, and Ahsoka Season 2 are both in the works for 2026. But that's about the extent of what's currently confirmed. Now, all this, before I continue, all of this could change this weekend. If D23 announces a new live action show, whether it's Skeleton Crew Season 2, Kenobi Season 2, or anything, they could announce the next live action show. And all this sort of goes out the window. This, oh no, will there never be another live action show? That could be thrown out the window this weekend. But it might not. There is no rumors right now indicating that there will be a new live action show announced on Saturday. None. So it would be a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. It's a notable slowdown compared to the rapid-fire release schedule from 2022 to 2024. Really, 2020 to 2024, which was about 2 to 3 series per year. And this is live action, not to mention the animated ones. The official course reversing isn't just about pacing. It's about storytelling focus. Recent reports suggest that Lucasfilm is considering building an entirely new interconnected era of films, potentially beginning with Charmina Bencino's Rey-focused movie, following Daisy Ridley, and culminating in a massive event film. So we talked about these reports before, but the idea that much like the Mandoverse has all these different projects which will eventually converge in one climactic event versus Grand Admiral Thrawn, with Skeleton Crew, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and Mando, you're going to see something similar to that happen in a post-sequel world. Starfighter, the Rey movie, Simon Kinberg's trilogy, all that will come together for some big climactic thing. Yeah. It's a long-term vision reminiscent of the Mandoverse crossover model that they used on Disney+. But this time, it would play out primarily on the big screen. While that Rey movie is reportedly on pause for now, it's actually supposed to start filming next year. We'll see. It's still rumored to be viewed as a potential jumping off point for a larger narrative arc, because the Skywalker saga is over. Lucasfilm is stealing a bit from Marvel Studios, a fellow Disney branch, with this idea of eventizing Star Wars in theaters. Star Wars has always really been an event, let's be honest, but yeah. It also is not a new idea for Lucasfilm. Dave Filoni's upcoming Star Wars film is supposed to serve as a combination of the Mandoverse, tying together storylines from The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and Book of Boba Fett, and Skeleton Crew. Filoni's previously explained that his upcoming movie requires a long development due to its placement of in a very large arc. I'm assuming that Dave Filoni's movie is supposed to be the end of the arc. It's supposed to be that climactic end of Grand Admiral Thrawn, etc. But I guess only time will tell. Making some fans wonder if it will ever happen at all. Well, this will definitely happen. The only reason that there's no news on it is because he's working on Ahsoka Season 2. Yeah. Please, Star Wars, don't steal from Marvel. Marvel steals from Star Wars. It's not that they're stealing from Marvel. It's they're learning from Marvel's mistakes and successes. Marvel has done quite a few things right over the last 15, 20 years. They've also done a lot of things wrong. So Star Wars has the opportunity to take that, learn from it, and try to make it even better. They're not obviously copying what they did in a way. They're also copying what they did in a way. if that makes sense. At the same time, several of these once announced projects are still in flux at Lucasfilm. High-profile filmmaker-led projects, such as those from Rian Johnson's trilogy, and Taika Waititi, remain stuck in the Star Wars pedigree. Yeah, sure. Nope. Whatever. These projects may still happen. I'm not too sure about the Rian Johnson one, but Taika Waititi's seemingly is still in development. That's the last we heard on that from Kathleen Kennedy herself, actually. But Lucasfilm appears far more focused on the select group of high-priority theatrical releases than on juggling a sprawling collection of disconnected ideas. Pretty much all this is saying is Lucasfilm has a plan moving forward for the movie side of things. And that's exactly what you want to hear. Post-sequels are going to be all connected, hopefully by a big villain, but who knows. All the Mandoverse stuff is going to all be connected and drawn in together. You can have your one-off stories like Skeleton Crew, but it will still tie back to the main story. You can have your one-off stories like Starfighter with Ryan Gosling, but it's still going to connect back to the main story. And they're not just throwing out random projects left and right, like Rogue One or Solo. Now, don't get me wrong, I love me some Rogue One and Solo, but those were two projects that randomly came out of nowhere and are disconnected to pretty much every other project that was coming out at the same time. They're connected to projects, just not to the projects that were coming out. And then Andor eventually connects to Rogue One. But with that being said, all this is pretty much saying is Lucasfilm is taking a step back from Disney Plus so they can take a leap forward into the movie theaters and plan out how Star Wars is going to exist on the big screen moving forward, which makes a lot of sense. This is partly happening because of the media landscape has changed since The Mandalorian launched on Disney Plus with a bang. Streaming growth has slowed. Theatrical moviegoing is turned studios' profits, and fans have become more selective about what Star Wars stories they're willing to invest in. No thanks. Oh my God. Always comes back to the accolade. But they're not wrong. It's very hard to make any amount of money on a Disney Plus show. It costs a shit ton to make a show because it's 8 episodes, all about 45 minutes. It's way longer than a movie, and there's no box office. Yes, you get subscriptions for your streaming service, but even still, Disney Plus is not making nearly enough money for them to warrant dropping $500 million on 2 seasons of Andor. So they have to go back to the movie screen. They have to go back to movie theaters and get success in the box office. And those successes in the box office can also hopefully correlate to success on Disney Plus. The animation side of things, although it does cost, of course, still a lot of money, it's not nearly as much as making a live action project, and that's okay if they're not making nearly as much money or getting nearly as much views. Rogue One's sequel is called A New Hope. I wonder when that will come out. But Lucasfilm seems to be taking these signals seriously by narrowing its output and shifting its creative energy back to the movie theaters. It's aiming to restore a sense of spectacle and cultural event status that Star Wars films once reliably commanded. I still think they do, and again, that's why I think The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be a insane success. People just forget. Don't forget, Star Wars returned to theaters in 2015. The Force Awakens earned $936 million in the domestic box office, the highest of all time. People still want a Star Wars movie. They still want to look forward to the galaxy far, far away on the big screen. People have just forgotten about that. Even The Rise of Skywalker, which people argue is not the best Star Wars movie, made $1 billion. People wanted to see that. Star Wars in theaters is an event. In short, the era of nonstop Disney Plus content appears to be over. Now, this is where I disagree. I mean, I guess first of all, define nonstop. We're still going to get Disney Plus content. Live action shows, probably a lot less, but still some. whether it's season 2s of shows or new shows. But the animation stuff is never going to stop. We just got a new Maul series announced that will be multiple seasons. You'll probably get a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show after that. You're going to still get the Tales of the Jedi stuff, the Star Wars Vision stuff, the Rebuild the Galaxy sort of stuff. They're never going to stop with that. So this will never be over, as they put it there. But what lies ahead is a more curated, theatrically driven phase for Star Wars. One that promises fewer titles, but potentially more impact. The streaming side isn't disappearing entirely, though, of course, all those things I just mentioned before. Most exciting upcoming Disney Plus project is Ahsoka Season 2, which recently gave fans a first look at Iman Esfandi's Ezra Bridger in live action once again. We already looked at that. And a reveal that has sparked some speculation about the season's story. So there's the drastic shift going on at Lucasfilm. From shows back to movies. They're just trying to find the balance. They're just trying to find the chosen one, Anakin Skywalker, to give balance to what's the perfect amount of Disney Plus shows to Star Wars movies. And we'll see. I mean, I think it's going to go well. Next year is going to be insane. And hopefully 2026 can be the perfect example to Lucasfilm of how it can work. One live action show, one movie, and one animated series. And if all three are successful, then they might see that as the formula moving forward, which would be fan-freaking-tastic. But tell me in the chat, do you think this is the smart move to move away from Disney Plus a little bit? Still make Disney Plus shows, just less, and really want the quality over quantity, and moving to the movie theaters? Because I definitely think that Star Wars belongs on the big screen. But tell me in the chat if you agree with that. Or do you think this is a horrible idea? Star Wars should remain on Disney Plus forever, and Star Wars movies should be far and few between. Few and far between? You get what I mean. Tell me in the chat. And while you're at it, can I get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? I almost just knocked this over. Bumpa! I'm excited for the post-sequel era. Me too, and I'm excited to see how they do it. Because of just all the mystery of the politics in the galaxy, who's in charge in the galaxy, the Jedi Order, the Sith Order, all that stuff. Like, that's where I'm excited. Yeah. No, because the same people who made the mess are still there. There's no change. What mess? The last 5 years on Disney Plus, I would not describe as a mess. I want both Disney Plus and theaters. Well, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get both. It's just less Disney Plus to provide a space for the theaters to come back. You know? The Dave that loves Star Wars, what's up? Appreciate you. Yeah. Okay. And that brings us to what could be one of the next Disney Plus projects. So Ewan McGregor does it again. I feel like we're talking about this every single week now. Ewan McGregor was at yet another fan expo. This one in Chicago, or was this the one in Canada? Canada. This was the fan expo in Canada, talking about Kenobi Season 2. So let me let's put up a poll first before we even dive into this. By the way, this poll is actually a lot closer than I thought. 57% of you guys say that you do think the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer will be released publicly this weekend. 43% say no. What's crazy about that is I'm definitely a yes on that. We might be getting the first trailer for a Star Wars movie in 6 years this weekend. That's got me hyped up. I don't know about you guys, but we haven't had a Star Wars movie in quite some time. So I can't wait. But Ewan McGregor is chaos. He's just, trying to get us Kenobi season 2? Do you want a Kenobi season 2? Yes or no? Let's see it, chat. And while you do, let's talk this out. I think that Star Wars Disney Plus was a mess. The only thing that was great was Andor. Well, that's your opinion. Because on paper, Andor, not a success. Well, viewership-wise, I should say. And budget-wise, costs over $600 million. I agree with you. I think Andor was fan-freaking-tastic. But I also thought that with The Acolyte and Mando and Skeleton Crew. So that's more of a objective opinion than a subjective one. But here's what Ewan McGregor's latest and greatest is when it comes to Kenobi Season 2. Star Wars divisive Disney Plus series just got an encouraging Season 2 update. Yet again. The star of one of Star Wars' most divisive recent series believes he'll be back sooner or later. The episodic nature of Star Wars makes the franchise the perfect fit for television, from a certain point of view. Critics praised the self-contained adventures of The Mandalorian and hailed the political thriller and Rogue One prequel of Andor as a masterpiece. At the same time, audiences were split over lore-heavy tie-ins like The Book of Boba Fett and The Acolyte. In Obi-Wan Kenobi, which bridges the events between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, was once a movie before getting reworked into a 6-episode Disney Plus limited series, only for the fans to edit it out, awkward pacing, and fluff, resulting in a 2.5-hour movie. I agree with that to an extent. I think that Kenobi should have been a movie. Obviously, it wasn't because of Solo not doing well and them moving away from movies and going to shows, but even still, I don't know. Yeah. I think it should have been a movie from the beginning. Also, what do we get when you hit 200 this week? I'm definitely not hitting 200,000 subscribers this week. I'm aiming for the end of the year, but this week it would be insane. No way. But I don't. Oh, actually, I do know. So I was talking about this yesterday. It was my dad's birthday. Can we get some happy birthdays to my dad in the chat, please? It was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to my dad. So we were celebrating yesterday, and we were just talking about it. And everybody was asking me, Mike, what are you going to do at 200,000? Because if you weren't here for 100,000 last year, we dumped a cup of blue milk on my head. So we were pitching some ideas. I was like, I'm definitely not dumping a cup of blue milk on my head again. But then Samantha came up with a great idea, and she actually volunteered herself. She came up with a great idea to dump blue milk on her head. So we'll probably do a cool giveaway and stuff as we usually do for those types of events for 200,000. But write it down, chat. She said it, not me. Samantha agreed to get a cup of blue milk dumped on her head. So there you go. There you have it. Happy birthday to the dad who brought balance to the Force. That's crazy. I appreciate this. This is very nice. Yeah. A gallon of blue milk it is? Okay, sure. A gallon of blue milk on Sam's head. Not my head, Sam's head. Yeah. Mike, for 200K, will you sing the Yum Num for us? Maybe. I appreciate the super chat, though. Explore the Force. I really would do. Super chats, memberships keep the lights on over here. Alexander with the very generous $5 holla says, oh, hang on, where is it? Says, viewership-wise, Andor was the only Star Wars show to increase its viewership, Skeleton Crew. It was watched more than Kenobi and Ahsoka over the long run, over the 2.5 years. Yes, I mean, it has more viewership in 2.5 years than Ahsoka did in 8 weeks. But it's still, the viewership of Season 1 in particular, for the $300 million budget, it's not going to make you money. It's the same argument I just made about Disney Plus or Star Wars having to move to the movie theaters. You need the box office success to make money. Disney Plus is just not streaming in general is just not a viable option. Doesn't make you enough money. And don't get me wrong, I wish Andor Season 2 was the most viewed thing for Star Wars because it was a masterpiece. I really, really do. But Super Chats, memberships keep the lights on over here, so I appreciate that quite a bit. Rom, what's up? The only way Ewan McGregor is coming back would be in a original trilogy reboot? Well, that's never happening. That is never happening. Yeah. If Kenobi was a movie, Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen would pull fans into theaters. Yeah, well, Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen pulled fans to Disney Plus. But it probably would have been better off if it was movies, yeah. You're right. Okay, well, I just got extremely distracted. Let's get back to this. Still, that hasn't stopped Star Wars fans from asking actor Ewan McGregor about a Kenobi Season 2. Because although the first season of Kenobi has its lower moments, people not liking the character of Reva specifically, not liking the chase with Leia in the early episodes, I certainly like Kenobi a lot. I think the finale, the rematch of the century, lived up to the hype. It was awesome. But just because of that alone, having Hayden come back, Ewan come back, and giving us that rematch of the century, fans want more. So the question continues to be asked to Ewan McGregor at all these fan expos and Comic-Cons about Kenobi Season 2. So at a recent panel appearing at Fan Expo Canada, Ewan McGregor addressed whether he could return for the most famous role, as he said this: "I'm sure at some point we'll do something else with Obi-Wan," he said. So there's a reason for hope, basically. Now, we've talked about all the things that Ewan has said in the past, talking about Season 2, how they're working on something, or he said, like, I hope to be working on something, and then he's like, well, I should say we are planning on something. But here he's saying, I'm sure at some point they'll do something else with Obi-Wan. That doesn't really make me think Kenobi Season 2. Now, the latest and greatest in terms of rumors for Obi-Wan has been that he will be in Ahsoka Season 2. Probably in the Clone Wars armor, in some sort of flashback to the Mortis God arc, maybe, with a young Ahsoka as Ariana Greenblatt and Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, and having the trio back together in live action. But this doesn't sound like he's talking about a Kenobi Season 2. He's saying they'll do something else with Kenobi, with Obi-Wan. Not a Season 2, but they will do something with him. Keep that in mind. Ewan McGregor on Kenobi Season 2's return. The first season of Kenobi reunited McGregor and Christensen for the first time since 2005's trilogy ended with Revenge of the Sith, and saw the Jedi Master face his former Padawan, now the armor-clad Darth Vader, a decade after their fateful duel on Mustafar. I don't know where they are with that, McGregor said on a potential second season at Fan Expo Canada. I don't know. I know you all think I do, but I don't know what their plans are. See, I still don't believe him, but, you know, what are you going to do? The problem with this, Erica, what's up? The problem with this is Ewan McGregor is an executive producer on Kenobi. If they're doing anything in terms of a Season 2, he'll be in those conversations. Now, maybe not the early stages of those conversations, but I think he's already been in those conversations, especially if he is going to be in Ahsoka Season 2. But he goes on. I know they're making Ahsoka Season 2 now because my wife gets up and goes to work every day. And guess who gets in the car with her, Ewan? Guess who's on the way to Ahsoka Season 2 set as well? Ewan. With his wife. He added of Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who plays live-action Harrison Dula in the series featuring his Star Wars prequel co-star Hayden Christensen reprising his role as Anakin Skywalker. So I know that they're doing that, but I have no idea what their plans are. Well, neither do we, Ewan. Neither do we. Coming back to the role was just seamless. Apart from one thing, his voice, he added, saying hello there to Obi-Wan, again, 17 years after Revenge of the Sith. It was quite a long process. I was going to be a movie at one point, and with another director. And then the director had to go off to another project, and Deborah Chow became the director. And I loved her. I loved working with Deborah. She's amazing. She directed all the episodes with that we made in Kenobi series. So it was really her vision, which honestly, again, tying this all back together to the David Klein news of his cinematography being for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Deborah had the experience working on Star Wars. She worked on The Mandalorian season 1 and 2. I don't know if she worked on 3, but she had the experience working on Star Wars. Much like fans have been begging for a Bryce Dallas Howard directed Star Wars movie or show, because she has the experience with Star Wars and people love the stuff that she does with Star Wars. That's why Deborah Chow got this job, and that's why people were pretty much okay with it. Ewan McGregor is referring to Stephen Daldry, the director who went away. He developed the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie as a sequel to Revenge of the Sith and a prequel to A New Hope. Daldry's version would have been set on Tatooine, the remote desert planet where the hermit Jedi was tasked with watching over young Luke Skywalker. Tensions between local farmers and a tribe of Tusken Raiders would force him out of hiding. At one point, it was totally a storyline about Luke. It was absolutely me and Luke on this big journey. That would be weird. Young Luke and Obi-Wan hanging out like they're pals. That wouldn't really work for me. Because then why would they just not really know about each other in A New Hope? I don't know about that. Ewan McGregor said recently that he'd been given homework to watch the Clone Wars. Yeah, because so he was asked about the Clone Wars in some way, and then he said, I signed something today that was Obi-Wan in Mandalorian armor, and I didn't know what that was about. And then people in the audience were like, that's from the Clone Wars, and this, like, that was real, like, that actually happened, you were saving the queen, like, this whole thing, and he didn't know about it. So then he was like, uh-oh, I gotta do my homework. I gotta go watch the Clone Wars. But that's sort of why he said that. Yeah. So originally it was going to be about Luke and Obi-Wan on a big journey. And then, somewhere along the line, I forget exactly where, it shifted into a story about Obi-Wan and Leia. And I thought that was brilliant. It was really unexpected. I agree that the whole thing with Obi-Wan and Leia is the route they should have gone down. It's the only way that Obi-Wan was going to leave the planet, which was a necessity. Yeah. Well, Luke appears briefly in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. The series does instead follow the Jedi on a spacefaring journey to rescue the boy's twin sister, a young Princess Leia Organa, played by Vivian, from the Empire and a Jedi hunting Grand Inquisitor and third sister, a vengeful Reva. Obi-Wan Kenobi is available now on streaming, blah, blah, blah. So his update this time is I don't know what's going on. My wife is working on Ahsoka Season 2, and I'm sure at some point they'll do something else with Obi-Wan. There's not many options when it comes to doing something with Obi-Wan Kenobi. There really isn't. It's either the 9 years between the Kenobi series and A New Hope, which would only be Kenobi Season 2, or it's him appearing in a flashback scene in Ahsoka Season 2. That's about it. Maybe you could have him come back as a Force Ghost, but even that would be very problematic because Force Ghost Obi-Wan has always been Alec Guinness. So there's not many options when it comes to bringing back Obi-Wan Kenobi. But all this comes down to one big fact that remains to be seen. Not only do they want to make this show, but do the fans want this show? So I ask again, do you want a Kenobi Season 2? With a ton of votes on this poll in the chat right now, 75% of you say yes. So, now, I'm not stupid. Of course, our polls are very hardcore Star Wars fans who love a lot of Star Wars. We are the people who love Star Wars. It's not the greatest group we have here to talk about the entire Star Wars fandom, but even still, it's a poll and it's a poll of Star Wars fans, 75% of you say yes. I'd much rather have a Solo 2. Interesting. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. I think your best bet for that is the Lando series, which is in, production limbo. Yeah. You're probably wondering, wait, what? Oh, sorry. Did anybody else think Kenobi was a bit bland visually? I mean, no. I did not. Especially not the final episode. I have a few complaints with Kenobi. One of them being the location of their final battle. Like, yes, it's just this random moon, and I guess that makes sense. But it would have been so cool if it was like Mustafar again. Like if Obi-Wan went to his castle. Again, you'd have to change the whole story of the season, but it would be cool, Yeah. Lando is in purgatory. I think Lando will eventually happen. It's more so when will Donald Glover be available, I want Captain Rex in live action. Well, you got him for like a second in Ahsoka season 1. Hopefully you get more of him in season 2, but I don't know. Yeah. I agree, Mike. Lando series would and could be a good opportunity to bring Solo in from time to time. Yeah, I mean, where there's Lando, maybe not actually. Solo could be involved in the story, but it would just be cool to see a continuation of that underworld time period in Star Wars, Yeah. Who will we get first, an Obi-Wan Kenobi return or a Cara Dune return? I would assume Obi-Wan. Yeah. I would assume Obi-Wan, just because I think Obi-Wan will be in Ahsoka Season 2 next year. But even if he's not, a Kenobi Season 2 is far more likely than them re-greenlighting Rangers of the New Republic or anything of that sort. Yeah. Vader was so evil and amazing. Vader has been done so well over the last 15 years since Disney acquired the company. He has been done unbelievably well. He's always sort of just a cameo appearance, but they make him so evil and scary. And even when they show his sort of nicer side, I guess, when he's got the whole stuff with Padme and all that, trying to revive Padme, or even when half his mask comes off and he talks to Ahsoka and talks to Obi-Wan, all that stuff is just so good. Even his tiny appearances, like in Star Wars Outlaws or in Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, like that stuff is just so good. Yeah. Yeah. The only Dune we'll be seeing is Dune 3. I don't know about that. We'll definitely be going back to Tatooine at some point, whether it's for Kenobi Season 2 or not, because Boba Fett and Cobb Vanth, well, they're going to have some sort of story in this whole Mandoverse stuff. So we'll be back on Tatooine at some point. Not without a good story. If they don't have a good story for Kenobi Season 2, then they shouldn't do it. I agree. I mean, that's probably the reason that it hasn't been greenlit yet. Yeah. Commander Cody returning. That would be pretty good. You have to fill the gap. There is a few unanswered questions that still remain for Obi-Wan and characters around him, but you can't have a rematch of the Century 2. So it would be who's the villain, what's the plot, all that stuff. Force Ghosts, Commander Cody, maybe. Yeah. Give me a Darth Vader show. Leave poor Obi-Wan alone. A Vader show would be great. Don't get me wrong. It would be great. But, yeah. It's when he's walking down the street. Oh, my God. When he's walking down the street and he's snapping people's necks, dragging the dead guy along the ground, like, that's Vader. That's Vader. Or even in Rogue One's hallway scene. Come on. Come on. You shouldn't have had the rematch of the century. It makes no sense. Well, actually, it makes a lot of sense because it fills in the plot holes of A New Hope. The unanswered questions that still remain from Revenge of the Sith. Like Vader going, when we last met, I was but the learner, now I'm the master. Him calling him Darth for some random reason. Him knowing that it's Anakin under the mask for some random reason. Now that's something I haven't sensed since, what does he say? Vader says something along the lines of, I don't know the exact quote, but there's a lot of open-ended, mysterious lines from A New Hope that just aren't closed. Or they weren't closed until Kenobi happened. And it explains all of it. How he knows that Anakin is Vader. Why he calls him Darth instead of Anakin. All that stuff was put to bed with the rematch of the century. Yeah. I prefer Vader in the Jedi games. I mean, he's pretty badass in those, that's for sure. Yeah. Something I've not felt since, and then he walks away. Oh, I get you. Cara Dune, not Dune. Not the sand dunes. It makes A New Hope worse? How? How's that even possible? Skywalker Academy, what's up?
Hello there.
Okay, I just realized that we are running extremely low on time, so we do have to get to some of this other stuff here. So Disney posted something, or Star Wars, I should say, posted something very interesting yesterday on their Twitter and Instagram accounts. And it was this. Now, it's concept art of the ancient Jedi texts. They were secreted away on Octu, and secreted away, on Octu. These texts keep the knowledge of the Jedi Order safe for the future disciples. The connection of all these upcoming Star Wars projects, it's what's going to keep us Star Wars fans busy and satisfied for the next decade. Because when you look at all these upcoming Star Wars movies, they're all over the place. The Mandoverse stuff is in between the originals and the sequels. The post-sequel world is all the way past the Skywalker saga. The Dawn of the Jedi is 25,000 years before anything. How can a movie 25,000 years before anything be connected to a movie post-sequels? This is it. They posted this yesterday, a link to an article that is 6 years old about the Jedi texts on StarWars.com. And the reasoning for this is the people who wrote these books, the people who made the Jedi Temple on Octu, those are the Dawn of the Jedi characters. So James Mangold, incredible director, by the way, is with Mr. Willimon, incredible writer, by the way, is writing and directing Dawn of the Jedi. It will likely come out a similar time to the Rey movie, because those two projects in particular, although they take place over 25,000 years apart, are going to be insanely connected. Because Rey is using these sacred texts to recreate the Jedi Order. And recreate it, can anybody decipher this? Can anybody translate this? Recreate it the same way that the original Jedi did. The right way. And this right here, these sacred texts, are going to be brand spanking new in the Dawn of the Jedi movie. The Jedi temples on Octu, on Jeddah, on Tython are all going to be brand spanking new. Getting to see Coruscant, the thousands of levels of Coruscant, all not there. Getting to see all the different planets that went through crazy shifts. Tatooine was a Earth-looking planet with water. Mustafar was another Earth-looking planet with life and water. Kamino wasn't just completely covered in water. All that happens over the course of the 25,000 years. So we could see planets that we already know and love look completely different, see Jedi temples that we see completely destroyed in the regular Star Wars timeline, brand spanking new, and see the sacred text, which will be the connection between the New Jedi Order and the Dawn of the Jedi, all be connected. That's why Dawn of the Jedi, to me, is the most important Star Wars movie coming out. I mean, other than The Mandalorian, because that's the first movie. But it's got me unbelievably hyped up because it is what will connect all of this, which is very hard to do. But it just caught my eye that Star Wars themselves posted this yesterday, a link to a 6-year-old article to keep it in your mind that these books, these sacred texts, are extremely important moving forward in the Star Wars timeline, or backwards, if you will. But didn't the Force Ghost of Yoda burn the sacred text for fun? No. Sacred texts were not there. So that's The Last Jedi. In a later scene in The Last Jedi, when Rey is on the Millennium Falcon, you can see when she closes one of the drawers, the sacred texts are in that. And then, of course, in The Rise of Skywalker, she's using the sacred texts to train with Leia. Yeah. So they were not destroyed. And I think Yoda might have known that. Did we not see the whole movie? What do you mean? What? Did we not see the whole movie? I don't understand the question. I want to see Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon in Ahsoka in Kenobi season 2. Well, if we are getting a Kenobi season 2, that's what it would be about. Oh, hang on. I'll show you what I mean. Sacred texts on the Millennium Falcon. So it's like a blink you miss it type scene, I believe. But right here, whoop, that's not it. Well, Rey is in the Millennium Falcon. I wonder if I can find it in the movie really quickly. It's towards the end of the movie, I know that. Just don't know when. Let's see. A detail in The Last Jedi I just noticed for the first time. Rey swiped the ancient texts. They were in a drawer in the Millennium Falcon at the end of the film. Let's see. Let's see if we can't find them. Yoda knew that they were safe and sound. Yeah. Indeed. Maybe it's time to rewatch the Millennium Falcon. Maybe it's time to rewatch The Last Jedi. Oh, is this it? This could be it. Possibly. No, that's not it. Oh, wait. I swear I just saw the scene. Come on. Last Jedi, scale of 1 to 10. Tell me in the chat. Last Jedi, out of 10. While I try and find this Easter egg. I forgot that Rey and Poe don't meet until the very end of this movie. That's crazy. Aha! Found it. Okay. So this is the scene right here, Chad. At the very end, they've won, or they, I guess, kind of won. They escaped. They escaped the day. Poe and Rey meet for the first time. And then right after this scene, she goes into a drawer and boom, sacred texts. Oh, it's Finn. Finn goes into the drawer. Aha! Rey just stole the sacred text. So there you have it. Sacred text on the Millennium Falcon. So they're going to help Rey build the new Jedi Order because Leia's gone, Luke's gone. That's all she has. Yeah. Okay. But I just found it really funny that they posted this yesterday when clearly we got D23 this weekend and they'll give us some sort of update on all the Star Wars movies. Dawn of the Jedi, anything they say about it gets me hyped up. So I'm really hoping we get an update on that too. Yeah. Another thing that I saw that was pretty dang cool. Of course, we haven't talked about the Acolyte today yet, so we got to give a little, Daphne Keane was also at Fan Expo Canada, with Ewan McGregor, where she said that she was influenced by Ahsoka Tano when crafting the fighting style for Jecki in The Acolyte. Ahsoka was a huge inspiration for how my character fought. Makes sense. They're very similar-esque characters with the two lightsabers. Now, Jecki didn't only have the two for the battle, but even still, pretty damn cool. Jecki was the goat. Jecki is the goat. No, Jecki was the goat. Do I have to remind you? Ksh, ksh, ksh. You know? Was the goat. Hi, Hodge. What's up? R.I.P. Jecki. Jecki's a Force Ghost? I don't think so. She did not learn that ability. Yeah. Did you know that Rey has the power to make weapons disappear? Weapons disappear. I don't know what that means. Yeah. You're welcome for that. Thanks, Justin. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And then she ate a ketchup chip. What the hell does that even mean? He's also dead. She's one with the Force now, but she's not a Force ghost. I wouldn't say. Oh, wait. Yes, I want to show you guys this. So I do this all the time now because I see these insanely cool edits on TikTok or wherever, I guess. And then I send them to myself so that we can watch them on the stream. Was it this one?
Like the greatest of trees.
Yeah. Oh, it's 11 minutes long. Never mind.
Like the greatest of trees,
We'll watch a snippet of it.
able to withstand any external attack. The Republic rotted from within, though the danger was not visible from outside.
The Republic is not what it once was. The Senate is full of greedy, squabbling delegates.
The wheels of democracy are moving too slowly.
Greed reaches deep within the Republic. Too many senators serving their own interests.
Luring off world companies to come in and industrialize the land.
And we're just left to find our way in their system.
I can't believe there's still slavery in the galaxy. The Republic's anti-slavery laws are...
The Republic doesn't exist out here.
The world here belongs to the syndicates.
Jedi claim peace, but mostly keep law and order for the rich and powerful. On faraway Coruscant.
I didn't actually come here to free slaves.
First and foremost, this is what makes Star Wars so good. Like, there's a surface level to Star Wars. Just cool action fights, cool lightsaber duels, whatever. People who say that, like, the politics side of Star Wars, the actual deep dive of Star Wars like this is not good, oh, they're so wrong. This is actually titled The Fall of the Republic. It is 11 minutes. We're not going to watch the entire 11 minutes, but we'll watch a little bit more. We'll watch a little bit more.
Do you think the Jedi will truly keep peace if they take everything the Senate says as law?
The civil war is brewing. Factionalism, fractiousness, intersystem conflicts.
I've come before you to resolve this attack on our sovereignty now.
Another reason as to why the Acolyte's so good. It's setting the groundworks for all that collapse of the Republic. The Jedi, of course, having the flaws that they do by the time of the prequel trilogy, are established in the Acolyte. The underlings of that senator, which I can't remember his name, coming to Venestra Row and saying, what happens when the Jedi don't want to be good anymore? Who's going to stop them? And that's sort of the whole gist of why the Republic falls.
Death toll is catastrophic.
Remember what you told me.
The Republic cannot be fixed. It is time to start over.
Soon we'll see disgruntled star systems begin to secede.
There are Pantorans rallying for us to join the Separatists.
Down with the Republic!
They will lack only a strong, charismatic leader to unite them.
You serve the Senate.
We serve the people of this republic.
As a people, you called out for change, for leadership, and I humbly answered.
Maybe Count Dooku was right. I mean, maybe. Just kidding. Just kidding, chat. Please send this to the Discord. I'll send this link to the Discord, yeah.
The Commerce Guilds and the Corporate Alliance have pledged their armies to Count Dooku.
All right, if you want to watch the rest of that, I'll send it to the Discord. We can't really watch the whole 11 minutes, but let's do that. I'll send it right now. Boom. Pretty epic. I mean, pretty epic. Okay. But I do have to get on out of here. I got to go finish up a short for today. It's actually a pretty good one if I do say so myself. But what I didn't actually know, and was a short from a couple days ago, was that not only is John Williams in The Rise of Skywalker, which I did know, but the background of that scene has 51 Easter eggs to all 51 of his Academy Award nominations, which is so cool. But if you, go check out that short I did a couple days ago. But yeah. So the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, hopefully getting a trailer this weekend. Just got its cinematographer announced, David Klein, guy who worked on Mando, Book of Boba Fett, Skeleton Crew, etc. Great. Fantastic news. Kenobi Season 2 gets another update from Ewan. As per usual, it wouldn't be another stream without that being an update. And Lucasfilm is switching over from the small screen back to the big screen and stepping back a little on Disney Plus. And, well, the sacred texts as well. There you have it, chat. There you have it. But until next time, wait, let's end this poll. Let's end this poll. By the way, 75% of you say yes, you want a Kenobi Season 2. I agree with you, depending on the story. But I agree with you. But until next time, smash a freaking like on this stream if you have not already. Of course, live stream every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday for the rest of your lives. And this Saturday being a huge live stream with D23 on Saturday. But until next time, oh, hang on. Star Wars Jedi Chat with a very generous $5 holla. I appreciate that. Says, thanks for the great podcast, Mike. See you tomorrow on Star Wars Jedi Chat. Of course, if you have not checked it out already, go check out Ron, Nick, Derek, myself on Wednesdays, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Star Wars Jedi Chat. But I appreciate the super chat. I really, really do. And huge shout outs to Ron, Darth Plagueis Lives, Alexander, Explore the Force, WV Grad, and Qui-Gon Wild for the very generous super chats, memberships. Keep the lights on over here. So I appreciate it. And yeah, may the Force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you all so much more than you'll ever know. I think when it comes closer and closer to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, we're going to have to place bets on how much money it's going to make. I will take the over on pretty much whatever the line is, but we'll take bets on how much money it'll make. My early bet right now, before any marketing has happened, I'm going to say 1.2 billion. 1.2 billion. And if it's really, really good, if the marketing's really, really good, 2 billion. 2. But We'll see. As we get closer, we'll talk about it more. But until next time, hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.